Till now, what did we study about DNA? We have, just tell me in genetics what we have studied. Anyone? At least topic.
Nucleotides.
Okay. In genetics, we have studied nucleotides, and then we have studied function of nucleotide, and then how nucleotide polymerizes to form nucleic acid. Then in nucleic acid, we have studied the structure of DNA structure. Okay, we have studied DNA structure. Actually, if you can remember, we have in nucleotide only, we have also talked about tRNA structure and abnormal nucleotide that is present as abnormal bases. This not abnormal actually, the bases that is not generally present. So these are present in RNA. So a very peculiar type of bases that are present in tRNA. So we have studied DNA structure. We have studied DNA folding. So do you know stages of DNA folding? Anyone? What are the stages of DNA folding? Stages. So stage 1 is, what is the first stage? Bead on string structure. What is the second stage? Chromatin fibril. So just remember this. So first DNA, okay. DNA will fold into, so this is DNA, raw DNA, which is about 20 angstrom or 2 nanometer. It will fold into a bead on string structure. This is 10 nanometer structure. So, and then this will fold into a 30 nanometer structure. So this bead on string and chromatin. This chromatin fibril will fold into, again this chromatin fibril will fold like helical, in a helical way, to form a 300 nanometer structure. And this 300 nanometer structure will fold to 700 nanometer structure. This is chromatid. So we have done this. And this bead, what is bead here? Here, what is bead? Just tell me, anyone? In bead on string structure, what is bead? Is it right spelling? BEAD?
Is it nucleosome? Genes.
Is it genes? Bead is a gene.
Nucleosome.
What is bead? Yeah, nucleosome. Bead is a nucleosome. So what is nucleosome made up of? Which protein?
Histone.
Yes, histone. So how many histones are there? Histone in the form of which one?
8 histones.
Octamer. No.
Octamer.
Yeah.
Octamer. Histone are not 8. We have 4 histone. Actually 2, H2, H3 and H4. And this 2, H2 is 2. It's H2A and H2B. And I did not talk about H1 because H1 is also present there. So H1 is called linker histone. So this 4 histone, H2A, H2B, H3 and H4, this will form an octamer. And on that octamer, this chromatin will be folded. So this is why it is called bead on string structure. So how many base wraps this bead histone? How many bases wraps this bead? How many bases are there that wraps? There will be 1 plus 3/4 fold. Near about 2 fold it will make. So it will start like this and then fold and then come like this. So this will be 1 plus 3/4 fold. 2/3 fold, sometimes 3/4 fold they call. So about 147, near about 150. 150 bases are there wrapped around this. So remember, these are the preview of what we have done in genetics. So now today we will talk about DNA replication. So I thought that we will talk about the DNA binding. I thought I will talk about DNA binding protein, but I realize that you will not understand right now DNA binding proteins. So that is why I started DNA replication. After DNA replication, after we talk about this DNA replication, then during transcription, we will talk about this DNA binding proteins. So that time you may understand these proteins. What is the significance of that DNA binding protein? During transcription or after transcription, we will talk about this protein in detail. So let's talk today about DNA replication. So what is DNA replication? Anybody?
DNA to DNA.
DNA dividing into 2.
So DNA to DNA. Then this DNA will double. So DNA actually duplication. DNA replication, the process of DNA duplication. The result is duplication. Okay. When DNA double, one DNA becomes 2 DNA. Then it is called replication. The process of doubling the DNA is replication. Replication is like forming a second copy. And the result is duplication. The result is duplication. Did you understand this? DNA replication is process of DNA synthesis. If you have to use the term process of DNA synthesis, is called DNA replication. Simple. DNA replication. So process of DNA synthesis on which? On DNA template, on old DNA template, on old DNA template. So there are two terms, DNA synthesis on old DNA template. It's called DNA replication. So let's today talk about DNA replication. So before going to DNA replication, we will talk about this very important process that happens, that actually are guiding us. This is called principle, central principle that is actually utilized, that is actually is a core of any living being. Function and replication of any living being. So because of this only we are alive, we can propagate our progeny because of this process. So this process is called central dogma. So what is this central dogma is an explanation of flow of genetic information, that is inheritance, you know that, within biological system, and it is often started as DNA makes RNA, RNA makes protein. So division, propagation, that is means reproduction. You can see reproduction, basis of reproduction is, I have already told you, basis of reproduction is this DNA polymerization. And what is the basis of all function? Whatever function we do is protein synthesis. So whatever we do, we survive because of this central dogma. This central dogma plays the role for our survival. So this is the center principle. So you will see first, what is central dogma? Synthesis of DNA from DNA. Okay, DNA from DNA. And see, this is a different language. That is why it is ADN. It is written ADN. So it is DNA. So from DNA, DNA synthesized. This is called replication process. This is called replication. Replication, it is written French, maybe French or some other language. And now from DNA, RNA is synthesized. This process is called what? What is this process? Transcription. And from this RNA, what happens? Protein is synthesized. So what is this process is called? Translation. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Replication, transcription, and translation. These three are guiding principle, ruling principle of our body. living system. This is the ruling principle of living system. Through this system, our body is ruled. We divide, we survive. So this is called central dogma. This is core principle, core rule of law. Dogma means rule of law. This is core dogma means core rule of law that exists in our bodies. Replication, from replication, this when DNA is RNA is synthesized from DNA, this is called transcription, and then when protein is synthesized from RNA, it is called translation. The whole process is called central dogma. Remember this central dogma. Now we will talk about replication. So see, replication. So this is DNA, okay? This is DNA. And then this DNA is a DNA. On this DNA, what will happen? When replication occurs, so what will happen? On this DNA, the 1-2 template will be utilized like this. And on this template, the new template will be synthesized. So now it is not that big deal for us. But when the Watson-Cribb discovered double helical model, that time people did not know whether this second DNA is completely new DNA or it is like this. People did not know. After experiment, they found that the DNA, the newly formed DNA, from this DNA, old DNA, newly formed DNA has one new strand and one old strand. One new strand means and one old strand. One old strand represents conservation. So this is called semi-conservative. This is called semi-conservative. So DNA is replication is semi-conservative model. Okay. So this is what DNA replication is semi-conservative. Now, one experiment has been done to prove this. This is called Mason-Stahl experiment. What was done is, initially, one culture media was grown, culture media of bacteria was grown on nitrogen 50, nitrogen 15. This nitrogen is a heavy nitrogen. It is a radioactive nitrogen. So after replication, so the DNA that got was N15 DNA, the DNA containing N15 nitrogen. So this DNA was very heavy DNA. Anyway, this was heavy DNA. So this DNA was given to a test tube and then made this DNA to replicate. After replication, what was done is this DNA was made to do centrifugation. After centrifugation, they got a hybrid region. So you can see that bottom region. So there is no DNA here. There was this DNA, hybrid DNA, and there was a light DNA. What does this represent is there are hybrid means there are DNA containing this and this, both old and new strand. This hybrid represents their DNA containing old and new strand, and this represent after some cycle of DNA replication, what will happen? There will be pure this N14 nitrogen. So this will give a light DNA band when this centrifugation is done on cesium gradient. So this is a very fine type of centrifugation. It can separate two very the molecule that is very different in their molecular weight. This centrifugation this is an ultra centrifugation. This is a type of ultra centrifugation. So because of this experiment, they concluded that there are hybrid DNA. So this concluded the point that DNA replication is a semi-conservative model. DNA replication is a semi-conservative model. It is not that if it were not conservative, completely new set of DNA were synthesized from the same DNA, completely new set of DNA where it has to synthesize from same DNA, what will happen? So there would have been this band, complete this band, and there would have been this band, not hybrid band. And from this experiment, they concluded that DNA is a semi-conservative. Replication is a semi-conservative process. Did you understand this? Even if you don't understand, just remember replication is a semi-conservative, and these two person did experiment and found out that Mason and staff. So replication is a semi-conservative model. Now, so then after replication, how I am talking about the process, how they discovered this DNA replication. So this scientist Crane, he did experiment on bacteria and then saw some fork here. Replicating bacteria, when he saw that this DNA on electron microscope, he saw some fork type of structure. Some fork type of structure here. So this fork, and then he found that replication, he actually hypothesized and found that there is formation of replication fork for DNA replication. So for DNA replication, there has to be formation of replication fork. So one or both ends of loop are dynamic points. So both ends are dynamic points. In bacteria, you know the DNA is circular DNA. And where parent DNA is being onwind, that means. So replication fork means parent DNA is being onwind and separated strands are quickly replicated. So first strands are separated, then replicated. So this gave an idea of how DNA replication happens after discovery of a replication fork. You can see DNA is a semi-conservative model. Semi-conservative DNA replication is starts with formation of replication fork, and then DNA synthesis is unidirectional. So this three experiment has led to the discovery of DNA synthesis replication process. So DNA synthesis, this scientist discovered, this Arthur Korenberg discovered that DNA synthesis happens from the direction of 5 to 3 dash. So first 5 prime nucleotide will be synthesized. So nucleotide will be synthesized and nucleotide will be added to this 3 prime end. So the synthesis will be from 5 to 3. Okay. So this is called unidirectional process. So DNA synthesis is what? Semi-conservative. Okay. DNA synthesis is what? Starts with formation of
5 dash to 3 dash.
Yes, unidirectional process. It starts with formation of replication fork. It is semi-conservative. Starts with formation of replication fork, and then it is unidirectional. So 3 principles led to the discovery of actually DNA synthesis. And this is the scientist who actually identified DNA polymerase. He identified DNA polymerase. And that is why DNA polymerase is also called Korenberg enzyme. Korenberg enzymes. This is called Korenberg enzyme. So what is the origin of replication? Where does replication starts? Then question comes. So replication starts by formation of fork. I have shown there also. Here also you can see on this electron micrograph, you can see the formation of replication fork here. This replication fork formation. And then where does this replication fork formation starts? It starts at a weak region. So you know the weak region is the region where there is, you can see the region which have guanine, cytosine. The region which is rich in guanine and cytosine, it is difficult to break because guanine cytosine has 3 hydrogen bonds, but adenine thymine has only 2 hydrogen bonds. That is why the region that is rich in adenine thymine will be broken, not guanine cytosine. So this is a weak region which is a origin of replication. This weak region is origin of replication. So this Ross and Mann and colleague, they found that denaturating map of this chromosome of this bacteriophage, and they found that actually the separation happens at the region where there is weak base pairing, that is AT reach region. Did you get that? Did you get this?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And this not only replication, during during transcription also there is unfolding of DNA, and that DNA unfolding always occur at AT reach region. So this is a rule. DNA unfolding will happen at AT reach region. So this is replication fork. What was discovered here? Replication fork. So if you understand about replication fork, you will understand everything about DNA synthesis or replication. So you can, I have already told you that this is unfolded DNA. You can see this unfolded DNA. So this DNA unfolding happens like this, and then replication happens like this. You can see on both strands there is DNA replication. So for DNA replication, you can see many types of proteins. Here you can see protein, this protein, here you can see this DNA polymerase. Here also you can see DNA polymerase. So DNA polymerizes these two strands. You can see here. And helicase, you can see helicase opening. Helicase, as the name suggests, it's open the helix. So this is called helicase. So helicase is opening the helix. So these two in the DNA polymerase and helicase. You can see two types of enzymes you can see here. Now these are nucleotide being added. So let's see a bit detail of this replication fork. So you can see this, a detail of replication fork. You can see here. So this is a detailed enzyme you can see of replication fork. So you can see here DNA polymerase here, and you can see some other enzyme like primase. RNA primase is there, DNA ligase is there, and then helicase is there, single strand binding proteins are there, topoisomerase. Now these all proteins are very essential for DNA replication. So you can see all these proteins associated with replication fork. So there is first protein that come, and this is DNA. This is DNA. The first protein that comes and that breaks the DNA, this hydrogen bond between this double stranded DNA, nucleotide of this double stranded DNA. So the enzyme that separates these two like this is called helicase. That breaks helix structure. This is called helicase. So helicase enzyme separates two strands of DNA from each other, breaks the hydrogen bond between these two. Okay, so this is helicase. So helicase is the first enzyme. Now second enzyme you can see topoisomerase. I will talk topoisomerase. What does it do? Whenever there is like when this DNA is unwinded, what will happen? So there will be very tight. There will be tight supercoil here. If you unwind DNA, there will be tight supercoil here. What is this?
DNA helix.
Okay. So suppose there is AT reach region. Here is the AT reach region. So what will does helicase? Helicase will break the bond. If helicase breaks the bond here, so what will happen at the two end? Won't there be supercoiling? If this coilic, won't there be supercoiling?
Yes, sir.
So you can actually conceive that when something is like folded, if you separate that two, so you can see the rope itself. If it is coiled, that rope is coiled. If you separate that, if you put finger and separate that two ropes, so what will happen? At the end, there will be supercoiling. This end will be tightened.
Yes, sir.
And that tightening will inhibit your further pushing of your finger. don't it?
Yes, sir.
So this supercoil, that supercoil will loosen by this topoisomerase. What will happen? It will cut somewhere and it will unfold and join again by uncoiling this. So this topoisomerase cut and then rejoin, and that is how it will unfold this supercoil. What is the function of this topoisomerase? On folding of supercoil. Unfolding of supercoil. So this is the function of topoisomerase. So I have already told you what is the function of helicase. Helicase break the bond, create a replication fork, and then this topoisomerase release the coil, tightening of this coil, release the supercoil. Now there is a primase. So after opening of this replication fork, then what happens? These single strands are exposed. These single strands are exposed. You can see right now. So this strand will be exposed like this. One strand will be 5' to 3', and other strand will be from 3' to 5'. Did you get that?
Yes, sir.
Now, so you know the DNA double helix are anti-parallel, 5' to 3' and 3' to 5'. So next nucleotide polymerization that happens here and here will be unidirectional in direction of 5 to 3'. So can you imagine here a continuous 5 to 3? So you can see the replication. What will be the direction of replication on this strand? This will be the direction of replication. Sorry.
So it would be opposite.
So what will be the direction here? This side or this?
5 to 3. Right side.
This is the direction?
Yes, sir.
No.
So but it is from 5' to 3', right?
Direction will be from this to this, because this 5', this will be 5', and this will be 3'.
But sir, there is written 5'.
5' to 3'. So this is 5' to 3' direction. I'm not talking, the synthesis will happen from 5' to 3'. Not here, this 5' to 3'. This is already 5' to 3'. Second strand has to be opposite direction. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
So this
Yes,
second strand has to be in opposite direction, because this strand is in this direction. So this strand has to be in opposite direction. That is why the synthesis happens from here to here, like this. Now, what would be the direction of synthesis here?
5' to 3'.
Left to right.
From this direction, left to right. So 5'. So can you see this on this strand? If you see on this strand, what will happen? There will be incremental synthesis, because once up to this it is opened up to this, so a strand will be synthesized like this. Again, when it is opened like this, strand will be synthesized like this. So once it is opened more, then again a strand will be synthesized this in an increment like this. Can you see this here? Yeah. So when DNA synthesis happens on this two strand, in one strand there is continuous DNA synthesis. Okay. On one DNA strand, there is continuous DNA synthesis. On other DNA strand, there is discontinuous synthesis. So the DNA strand on which there is continuous DNA synthesis, this is called which strand? Leading strand. Okay, this is called leading strand. So did you all understand this? Leading strand and lagging strand?
So
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
One is leading strand where DNA synthesis is continuous. Other is lagging strand where DNA synthesis occurs from fork to opposite direction, from opening of fork to opposite direction. This is called lagging strand. So this is lagging strand. So it lags from this fork to the like that. So incremental synthesis will happen. And these fragments, incremental fragments, are called Okazaki fragments. You can see these are called Okazaki fragments. So the fragment that is formed on lagging strands, these are called Okazaki fragments, and this is leading strand. So you can see this various terms are coming: leading strand, leading strand, lagging strand, this Okazaki fragment, and then these terminologies are there for DNA only, and there are terminology for enzymes. So these are the enzymes. You can see these are the enzymes and protein you will see in this replication. First helicase, I have already told you. Then topoisomerase, I have already. After opening of this, there is topoisomerase. Unwind, the tightening of the coil. And there is primase. So one thing is that DNA synthesis does not start. It's by itself. So after opening of this replication fork, so what will happen? The DNA synthesis does not start on its own DNA. It cannot start. It can just polymerize. So what will happen? There is a primase. That this primase, what does this primase do? This primase will synthesize a short fragment of RNA. Okay, this primase. So you can see this DNA. This is DNA primase. So DNA primase will synthesize a short fragment of RNA, and this RNA will cause, after this RNA, there will be start of DNA polymerase. So there will be, if this is a 3' to 5', now I will draw a straight line. Okay, so just you understand this. So this is a 5' to 3', and this is 3' to 5'. So this is a leading strand. This is a lagging strand. Okay. So what will happen? So DNA synthesis happens here. First, before DNA synthesis here, what will happen is there will be synthesis of a short primer. Here there is short synthesis of short primer, and this is RNA. Primer is RNA. On this, so because DNA after that also, after this only DNA synthesis will happen. So DNA polymerization will happen. Again here you will see, again next primer will be synthesized again. So what happens? The DNA polymerase will do DNA synthesis like this. Again on this fragment, once opened more, then again there will be primer synthesis, and primer, after this primer synthesis, DNA synthesis will happen. So this is, you can see this is DNA, fragmented DNA. This is called Okazaki fragment. But on this leading strand, this is 5 to 3. This is 5 to 3. This is 5', 3'. Here you can see from 5', continuous DNA synthesis will happen to 3'. Now you can see this there, and this DNA synthesis starts with primase, this synthesis of primase, and the primer, and this primer synthesis is done by enzyme primase. So did you understand the function of the primase? Primase actually start the DNA synthesis. And then what is the function of DNA polymerase? Elongation, just elongation of DNA. The function of DNA polymerase is elongation of DNA. And we will also see some function. Some DNA also remove this primer, some DNA polymerase, and polymerize it, fill this gap. So there is a particular type of DNA that fill this gap is called DNA polymerase 1, that will remove this primer and fill this gap. And here you will see this DNA synthesis is done by this both DNA synthesis is done by a particular group of DNA polymerase. This is called DNA polymerase 3. So DNA polymerase 3 does a continuous main strand synthesis here also, and in between these two is done by DNA polymerase 1. So DNA polymerase will remove this and polymerize this. After polymerization, what will happen? There will be fragment. So this fragment will be joined by one enzyme called DNA ligase. So DNA ligase. You can see DNA ligase will join this fragment. After synthesis of this DNA, the DNA fragment will be joined by DNA ligase. So DNA ligase is there, and RNase A, RNase H will break this RNA primer, and then DNA polymerase 1 will form this DNA from here, and there will be a gap, and that will be joined by DNA ligase. So there are these all protein, and there is this protein is called single strand binding protein. Once this follicle is opened, one replication fork is opened, this single strand has to be stabilized. This single strand will be stabilized by this single strand binding protein, and after it's being stabilized, then what will happen? There will be synthesis of DNA. So this is single strand binding protein. You can see these are SSBs. These are single strand binding proteins. So these many proteins are required for DNA synthesis. Did you understand this? If you understand the function of each of this, you will understand DNA synthesis easily. Helicase comes and opens. Then topoisomerase removes supercoiling. Then after that, this is third point, what will happen? Primase will come, and then primase will add the primer here. And then after primer, DNA polymerase will elongate the DNA. And then, yes.
So helicase and endonuclease both are same, sir?
Endonuclease are different. Okay. Yes. Helicase is different. Endonuclease is different. Endonuclease cut this bond.
Okay.
Endonuclease is something that will cut here DNA. It is not the enzyme that will actually remove the hydrogen bond between two helix. Okay. Helicase remove the hydrogen bond, separate two strands. It does not cut the strands. So did you understand this whole process? First comes helicase, then comes topoisomerase, then primase. After primase, DNA polymerase, and then DNA polymerase will polymerize. Then in between this Okazaki fragment, RNA will be removed by RNase, and then there will be synthesis of again DNA fragment, and then ligase will join those fragments, and then the function of single strand binding protein is to stabilize single strand. So these are the function of these proteins. We will talk about this sliding DNA clamp little bit. So these are the proteins that are required for DNA synthesis. So if you understand the function of this all protein, you will understand DNA synthesis. So did you understand this all? So this is all about actually the main thing about DNA replication. So now let's see this. So let's talk about DNA polymerase structure. So because this is a very important enzyme, the most important enzyme is DNA polymerase. So DNA polymerase is the enzyme that will polymerize DNA. Now let's see this. This is DNA polymerase. How do you see? This is a type of right-handed, partially folded right hand. Can you see? Can you see it like partially folded right hand?
Yes, sir.
So it is partially folded right hand. You can see thumb region here, and you can see palm region and finger domain. These are the actually protein domains here. So this protein is like this. Now what will happen is, this is DNA. DNA will bind like this here. Okay, DNA will bind like this. So DNA, this is template, DNA template. And now the nucleotide will be added here on the palm region. On the palm region, nucleotide will be added. And if this nucleotide is a deoxynucleotide and matching to the opposite nucleotide, then only this nucleotide will join with this. This nucleotide will be joined to this new nucleic acid, half pi. And then DNA will be synthesized. So what will happen is, so this DNA synthesis is like this. The DNA polymerase move like this. And this will do like this. So this is like polymerase. This finger domain come like this, and it will polymerize like this. Like you can conceptualize with the swing, that swing machine that moves like this. It will sew the whole clothes. The same way you can imagine. One movement will add one base like this. So there will be movement of base and going like this. This DNA polymerase will go like this. So this is how this DNA polymerase polymerizes the whole. So understand the little bit structure. Why I've given structure, so that you will memorize the actually image of this DNA polymerase. You can see the addition of them. So let's talk about different types of DNA polymerase. So I'm talking about the DNA polymerase of this bacteria. Okay. So human has this counterpart. If you understand the DNA polymerase of bacteria, you will understand the DNA polymerase of human. So there are three types of DNA polymerase you can see. This is the main DNA polymerase 3, that will cause DNA synthesis, that will actually do DNA synthesis. So this DNA polymerase will do DNA synthesis. And this DNA synthesis, you can see, so it's continuous DNA synthesis, it will do DNA polymerase 3. And let's compare this first. So processivity, what is processivity? Processivity is the polymerization capacity to add nucleotide at one time. When once this DNA binds to this, polymerase binds to DNA, it will add some nucleotide, then it will separate. And this is called processivity. So DNA polymerase 3 have very high processivity. Very high processivity. So that is why it is responsive. It will synthesize leading strand. It will go and synthesize leading strand. And polymerization rate is also very high. So two function will make this DNA polymerase very capable of synthesizing this leading strand. Now you can see this DNA polymerase. Let me not talk first about this DNA polymerase 2. I have already told you DNA polymerase 1 actually fills the gap between this Okazaki fragment here. So it will synthesize, it will present at the DNA between Okazaki fragment. So it is active during at lagging strand. Okay, and DNA synthesis, it does this, DNA polymerase does main strand synthesis does on both strands. DNA polymerase, but this is only, this will fill the gap between Okazaki fragment. The function of DNA polymerase 1 to form fill the gap between Okazaki fragment, and this is the function of this DNA polymerase to synthesize leading strand as well as the strand on both strand, lagging strand also. I have not written lagging strand, but it is synthesizing main DNA on both strand, and this DNA polymerase fill the gap between. Now DNA polymerase actually 2 is responsible for DNA repair. Okay, DNA polymerase 2 actually helpful in DNA repair. So we will talk later. And it has the processivity and polymerization rate very low, just like DNA polymerase 1. And this is something called proofreading. Do you know what is proofreading? Proofreading is a process when during DNA synthesis, what will happen during DNA synthesis? There is addition of wrong base also. There is addition of wrong base also here. There is addition of wrong base also here. So this wrong base addition is removed by DNA polymerase itself. How does it remove? I will tell you. How does it remove? I'll tell you. So what will happen? This is DNA, parent DNA. Now let me talk about this. So this is, remember, this is 3' to 5'. I'm taking this leading strand example. So when DNA synthesis happens, what will happen? Sometimes if wrong base is added here, so there will be kinking on this base. Now, when DNA polymerizes, so DNA will not go very fast, cannot go very fast. DNA polymerase cannot move very fast. So what will happen? This slow sluggishness of DNA polymerase will cause this DNA polymerase to shift back. It come here and it will remove these bases. You can see this is 5' to 3'. So it will remove these bases from 3 to 5. So you have seen the synthesis from 5 to 3. 5 to 3. Now you can see removal of base from 3 to 5. This is called exonuclease. Sorry, this is not endonuclease, exonuclease activity. I will correct it. This is exonuclease activity. Okay, this is exonuclease activity. So DNA polymerase has exonuclease activity from backward to forward. Forward to backward and backward to forward. This DNA polymerase, you can see it has got activity. All DNA polymerase has activity from backward to forward. All DNA polymerase. But DNA polymerase 1 has one extra activity. It can actually cut the DNA from this forward to backward also. Did you get this proofreading function? Exonuclease activity. So this is called exonuclease. So this is very important function. DNA polymerizes in 5 to 3 direction. At the same time, it removes bases from 3 to prime direction. This is exonuclease activity. So 3 to 5 exonuclease, all have 3 to 5. You can see all have 3 to 5 exonuclease activity. Exonuclease activity. All have 3 to 5 exonuclease activity. This DNA polymerase has one more capacity. It also can remove bases from 5 to 3 prime because it is active at the Okazaki fragments. It is active at Okazaki fragments. So it is active between Okazaki fragments. So sometimes it needs to remove base from this also. So that is why it has both capacity. It can remove bases from 3 to 5. It can remove from bases from 5 to 3. So DNA polymerase has both capacity. So these are the types of DNA polymerases. DNA polymerase 1, DNA polymerase 3, and DNA polymerase 2. You can see it is helpful in DNA polymerase. Just remember that. It is a bit similar to this DNA polymerase 1, but it has only one type of exonuclease activity. Only this backward to forward this exonuclease activity it has got. So primer removal, it can also remove. DNA polymerase 1 can remove primer. So other cannot remove primer. So it is active on lagging strand. So you already know this. DNA repair is also active. This is also active in DNA repair. So these are all about DNA polymerase, differences in DNA polymerases. So this is very important. I will ask question from these differences. I will ask question from proofreading function. I will ask question from this processivity, which DNA polymerase has highest processivity. I will ask question from which DNA polymerase is not involved in DNA repair. So I will ask such question from this. So these are the questions. Polymerization rate. Which DNA polymerase has highest DNA polymerization rate? This which has highest processivity? Which type of proofreading function? Which has primer removal capacity? So which DNA polymerase synthesizes on leading strand? So which is helpful in DNA repair? These are all questions. Okay. Now, so these are bacterial DNA. Now you have in our body, in eukaryotic body, there are DNA polymerase. We call it. We have given names like this: alpha, beta, gamma, delta. So there are so many types of DNA polymerase here. But DNA polymerase that is very equivalent to DNA polymerase 3 is DNA polymerase epsilon. Epsilon you can remember as enzyme. This is very similar to epsilon, and that is very similar to this DNA polymerase 1 is DNA polymerase delta. Here primase is polymerase alpha. This is primase. So you can remember this epsilon is, you can see E is 3. E is 3. Epsilon means E. E is 3. This is equivalent to DNA polymerase 3. This is delta. Delta, you remove this, it is equivalent to 1. So DNA polymerase 1, delta, and epsilon 3. Just remember this much. That's done. Then you will slowly understand others. So we have different type of DNA polymerase, though their function is similar to bacteria.